Solutions in the interest of time.
Yeah.
For South Africans and for foreigners.
Yeah. I'm just going to make one point before I go into my solutions. The apartheid government fell after 6 years of sanctions because it failed. So this notion that we must copy the apartheid government and so forth, Zimbabwe has been under sanctions for 22 years, still going. So we've done better than the apartheid government. Then we've also got the only country with a gold currency at the present moment. So right, what are the solutions? The solutions are we have to deal with the elephant in the room that our ancestors and our forefathers were dealing with before, neocolonialism. We cannot ignore the dispossessor of land, the dispossessor of the economy, and expect to have a better South Africa and a better Zimbabwe.
These are Europeans.
Europeans.
Okay.
Europeans continue to be criminals, holding on to unjust enrichment. He knows about restitution, restituto in integrum. He knows what needs to happen. Everything that was gained and everything that was lost must be returned to black South Africans. He knows it. He knows that principle.
This is for South Africans.
Yeah, and that's a legal principle.
Okay.
Restituto in integrum. And that is something that South Africans don't want to deal with, particularly the bourgeoisies. And he is a bourgeoisie.
Let's not be personal. We'll just speak generally.
Right. What I mean by a bourgeoisie, it's not supposed to be a derogatory remark. These are the guys who got education. These are guys who got law firms, the guys who are accountants, the guys who are chartered accountants, who are benefiting from the crumbs that fall off the table of capitalism at the expense of the guys at the bottom. So they are the ones that are protecting and defending the system. Yet, if Ike was to put the effort that he has put right now on wanting Africans to go home, in asking for restitution in integrum, he will probably be more successful to make that happen. That's point number one.
We've been asking for that for years. We've been fighting for that. I was jailed for that when I was 13.
Noted.
I've been active. And your solutions, when they always on South Africa.
Ike, let's allow him.
He knows
let's
more.
allow him. Let's allow him, please.
He knows more in South
Let's
Africa.
allow him. You made your point that we've been fighting for
The
it. Thank you.
reason why I point at people like Ike is he's powerful. He's got a powerful voice. He's stronger than even most politicians. That's why without TV, without being given platforms just like me, his voice is still out there. That's why we're sitting here.
Correct.
So I know that with that voice, he can change so many things. Number two, we don't have to just address the issue of restitution. We need to also address the continuing apartheid now. Duduzane Zuma doesn't have a bank account. Matsela Koko doesn't have a bank account right now. The son of Cyril Ramaphosa doesn't have a bank account. The banks of this country have closed those banks' accounts because they don't want these people to be competitive. And supposedly, they've committed a crime. Bank account is a way to transact. It's a right for people to be economically active. The banks of South Africa, which are still apartheid banks that used to be part and parcel of what was called the Defense Advisory Council, that constituted the apartheid military, plus banks and the business companies that said that the army of South Africa can declare any company as a key point, and once it is identified it as a key point, it can start a militia to kill black people and to fight black people from trying to get emancipation. That is still happening now. That is still happening now. So we need solutions of people like Ike who are advocates to stand up against this banking system, to call for the bank account to be a right, and to call for the bank account not to be cancelled for any reason whatsoever, because people cannot survive without that bank account. We need people like Ike to say that these apartheid banks must be broken down because they continue to represent what they represented during apartheid. We need people like Ike to continue to call for reparations for the South African people. Because if that doesn't happen, we will continue to be in this apartheid where we are fighting for 7% of the economy. That's what we are fighting for here. Black people control 7% of the economy, while 93% of this economy is in the hands of Indians and whites, and we're busy fighting each other for the 7%, leaving the bulk of the money that is going to actually change people's lives. And then we have to understand that these little territories we've got, South Africa, Zimbabwe, Botswana, separate, will never be able to develop. So Zimbabweans, Botswanans, and people from Lesotho will always come into South Africa if it is the leading economy that dominates everything. If South Africa goes and takes the chartered accountants, it takes the scientists, it takes the business people, it takes Strive Masiwa and allows them to have bank accounts in South Africa, allows them to get citizenships in South Africa, and leave no investment in neighboring countries, those people who have got no factories, no banks, no development investment from these people will come. So we need to stop South Africa taking the most educated, the most moneyed into the economy. We need to break up the unfair competition and the monopoly that is created by apartheid companies that use the benefit of apartheid to enter into SADC and enter into other African countries. But Standard Bank have no business competing with businesses that were started by independent African countries. But Anglo-America have got no reason to continue to hold on to mining rights and ownership of companies that were built by unjust enrichment. We need those to be broken down. We need an antitrust law, and we need those antitrust laws to be created in the country where these companies exist so that they don't continue to compete with us with money laundered funds, predicate crime funds, money from slavery, colonialism that gave them so much
Can
power
I ask you a
that they
question?
dominate the
Can
entire
I ask you a
region.
question?
Yeah.
When you said these people don't have banks, you're talking of Fobo Tutuzane. His father was a president. Couldn't they think of establishing black banks, rather than relying on the very same white people that they say they must fight? Because they should have done that in the first place. Now they're crying after the fact.
I agree.
Please,
and
please
I
do not
agree with
answer.
you.
Please, Rutendo.
I agree with you.
In the interest of time, please carry on with the question has been noted. Please
Yeah.
finish with the solutions.
So we need tangible solutions. I need Ike, when he's got money in South Africa, that he cannot invest in a mine because to get a mining license in South Africa costs so much money. I need him to take the little that he has, that 100,000, that million rand, he can mine and do amazing things in Zimbabwe. We must hold each other's hands and say, Ike Nyakuzwa, but I've got opportunity in Zimbabwe. I'm a gold mafia, like he says. There's a gold rush in Zimbabwe taking place. Come through.
How do we resolve this current issue with foreigners in South Africa and South Africans wanting the foreigners to leave? Those are more the solutions I'd like now.
We need to work together. Right now, Ike cannot see value in me if I can't give him value. As long as he sees me coming to take from his country, he's not going to talk to me in any other way but anger. But the day I say to Ike, listen here, Ike, I've got some people that I work with in Zimbabwe, billionaires. Some of them were billionaires in Zimbabwe and South Africa. And they need services. And I want you to offer services to them. We are currently fighting this law and that law and that law and that law, and then this billionaire who's in Zimbabwe and operating in South Africa needs services. I need you to come and brief. Take a brief. I fly with Ike to Zimbabwe. He sits with that billionaire. He makes some money. He'll begin to get a bigger picture to this issue. Because now he's also benefiting from my economy. Now he's also benefiting with his skill from what we are doing in Zimbabwe. Right now, we're going to court in South Africa against the banks. I'm doing it with Simba Chitando. Why? Because the South Africans don't understand the issue of sanctions and the injustice, so they haven't joined us, but there's opportunity there. So we would like to bring them in.
Are you
Right now
saying you'd like black South Africans to go and do business in Zim? Is that what you're saying as a potential solution?
Do business in Zim and in South Africa on issues to do with Zim. So I'm saying we've got cases in South Africa now.
I'm talking about a situation where black South Africans want foreigners gone. I'm asking what's the solution? I'm asking,
To me-
are you saying they must go do business there?
To me,
because
it's
they are waiting. They don't want to hear about Ike and billionaires. They're saying, we want foreigners gone. How do you solve that for the
I've
ordinary South
already
African?
given this as a solution to say once Ike is making a bit of money in Zimbabwe, once people like Thabo Mbeki gave them as an example, there are many South Africans with
So
mines in Zimbabwe.
ordinary black South Africans must go make money in
Because
some of these
you've
other
got-
countries.
You've got loans that you're getting,
Okay.
money that you're getting, capital that Zimbabweans don't have that can allow you to enter into sectors in Zimbabwe and actually make money.
Well, here's what
Muzi- Kumalo-
He's saying, Muzani,
Muzi-
if they took, none will come take.
And
Mu-
then, and
Muzi-
then,
Kumalo-
and then, and then, and then
Sorry,
they come
Ike.
with indigenization, they take half of
No,
what
no,
I
no.
own.
You're a black person,
leave
so
that.
we won't take anything from you. And indigenization was cancelled by Mnangagwa specifically to allow Africans to invest in Zimbabwe. Mzikumalo was the biggest gold miner in Zimbabwe for a very long period of time. Right now, Implats is the biggest platinum miner in Zimbabwe.
But you know what's the problem? You prioritize your people first.
That's
You
what
pri-
we're doing.
You prioritize
Sorry,
your
we've
people
got- we've got
first.
five-
But here
we've
in
got
South
5
Africa,
minutes.
it's an open for all.
But remember,
We've got
you
5
can-
minutes. We've got
what
5
we
minutes,
want
just so
to
you guys
do-
know.
is give you an opportunity to take advantage of some of these resources that are in Zimbabwe that many Zimbabweans don't have capital to take advantage of. Make money from them. Once you are making money away from a system that continues to choke you, then you are able to have resources to come back and fight the system. Do you know now?
But do you know if I go to Zimbabwe to make money, but I'll be following all the protocols, all the immigration laws. That's what South Africans are saying.
Agreed.
South
Agreed.
Africans saying, you know what, they've never hated foreigners. They say, if you come here, can you follow all the laws? And when you're here, please behave.
And we are
Sorry,
saying, and we are saying to
Rutendo.
the government of Zimbabwe,
Rutendo,
part of the
sorry.
solution. Part of